Hi everyone. This is actually the second video I'm recording today, but the first one may or may not get released. I don't know if you can tell, but the voice is off, battling a cold. It's been a while that I've recorded, obviously, for various reasons. Been off work for like over a week now because of the storm that's hit. Anyway, in the time I've been away, I've had some interesting moves within the baseball. And for this one, I'm going to talk about hitters and some of the fits going back a little while. So, a few of the names, just to get them out there. Hopefully I'll remember to cover them all. So we have Harrison Bader, Luis Ariz, Eugenio Suarez, Ryan O'Hearn, although that's a little much earlier, Brendan Donovan, who else was it? To an extent, Alex Bregman, but not as much. A couple names still out there with different levels of likelihood in terms of their being moved. So I figure I'll kind of float a couple. One is, well, let's just start from the top and get into some of the moves. So we'll start with the Giants. Now, earlier in the winter, doing my kind of off-season preview, I mentioned Harrison Bader as a name I liked for the Giants, and I think I explained why, which was that I saw either center or right field as an opening, depending on what you see Jung-Hoo Lee as, and especially in that park, which is huge. Jung-Hoo Lee, range-wise, was not great in center field, but he has a decent enough arm that in right, with a center fielder who can cover ground, that would be a much better defensive outfield, which is why I thought Harrison Bader would make some sense. The downside with Harrison Bader is his underlying numbers looked pretty bad, even in a 2025 where he had a good year statistically. So that's a worry. I also think having him in that lineup with guys like Matt Chapman and Willie Adames, Rafael Devers, young Bryce Eldridge, Patrick Bailey, who has like a 70 WRC plus or something like that, it presents a questionable level of offensive output and doesn't solve the problem of quality contact, which is why I liked Brendan Donovan as a fit there, although obviously they went elsewhere largely because the package that would be required to get Brendan Donovan, which I'll cover in a little bit. The elsewhere the Giants went was Luis Ariz. What I think of that is, I think from a he doesn't strike out perspective and he has a high average most years, I'm fine with that. I think the positional fit is horrible unless they think Bryce Eldridge needs some time to make some adjustments, which I did mention. Although I had guys like Paul Goldschmidt as kind of ideas, or like Reese Hoskins or Ty France or something like that. I don't like the idea of Ariz playing second base. I'd rather just have Casey Schmidt there because he's a better second baseman, and it's not like he's that much worse of a hitter overall if you actually look at output. Because all Luis Ariz does is not strike out and hit singles, essentially. There's no power. He doesn't run well. He doesn't have a position to defend. Wherever he does defend, he doesn't do it well. So, did I say he doesn't slug? I don't know if I said that or not. Anyway, hopefully my ears will pop in a second because they're congested at the moment. Anyway, getting back to the Giants. Yeah, I thought, like I said, I think Bader as a defender and a base runner is a good fit. I think as have a guy who gets on base and is going to be consistent with his offensive output. Probably going to be hit or miss there. As I said, I already explained what I think of Arise. Moving over to Donovan, I think the fact that the Mariners kept Young, Emerson, Sloan, Anderson, Montez, Farmelo, Sulliston, that catcher, Stevenson, I think it is. They did pretty well. They gave up Pete, they gave up Sancha, they gave up Ben Williamson. It is something to give up, but considering Emerson's almost ready, Young will hopefully develop into what he's supposed to be. And you have Donovan for a couple of years. It's a smart move. It's what they needed. I think Rob Refsnyder is going to be better than people think. Or, well, he'll be what people who know ball, as they say. He'll be what he is, but I think some people vastly underrate what he can do, especially against lefties. I mean, that's kind of the point of him signing there. So between him and Randy, and obviously guys like Julio, Cal, I guess Naylor not as much because he's more, I don't know his platoon splits, but anyway, the point is against lefties, Refsnyder, big bat there. So, like I said, I'm fine with them. I have no real complaints. They have two stud pitchers coming through. They have a big power guy. They have probably left side of the infield, Emerson. Still have other prospects coming through, so they're good. I've seen people, they could have maybe gotten another reliever like Romero, but they did get Ferrer in that Ford trade earlier, so I think they're doing fine. I think with that division, Texas hasn't had an offense, really. I don't think Nimmo is a better hitter at this point than Simeon. That is true, but I don't think they've done enough there. I mean, they'll have to have, like, Jock Peterson have a big bounce back, and guys like Carter be what he was supposed to be. Langford take another step forward. Seager be healthy. Their catchers stay healthy and be productive to actually make the playoffs. Have their pitchers, again, stay healthy, which I think... Oh, they did get Gore, though. That is true. Like I said, I would say Houston, who I'll talk about next, actually, in terms of a set of guys who haven't gotten traded yet. That's a decent segue, we could say. So, the whole Jarren Duran, Isaac Paredes, Willie Abreu, that whole triangle going on. I think it kind of needs to happen. I mean, I don't know who's out there anymore for the Red Sox to get. They obviously need some pop. They need a right-handed bat still on top of Contreras. You can't necessarily count on Story being healthy all year. You don't know what Christian Campbell's going to do, and he should be in the outfield anyway because he clearly couldn't handle the infield. They just got a first baseman. So, to me, that makes sense. You still obviously have Abreu, Duran, Rafaela, who should be permanently in the outfield at this stage, and then obviously Roman Anthony. So to have, plus you have Yoshida and Casas. So even if you put Casas in AAA, you still have Yoshida. So something needs to happen there. So to me, that's kind of a no-brainer to make that move at some point. So Houston would still have Christian Walker to play first. You have Correa, Pena, Altuve, and then obviously Walker. You have Jordan, who can play a little bit of left, also DH. You have Cam Smith, Wesley Guy, Zach Cole, Jesus Sanchez, Giner behind the plate. It's a solid lineup. Pitching wise, they've added, so it'll be an interesting division with those three. Obviously, Texas teams plus Seattle. Moving over to the NL Central with two teams that I still think are not seriously going to challenge the top two, which would be Cubs and Brewers, in whichever order you want to put them, is, as I mentioned at the top there, Eugenio Suarez going back to the Reds, and a little bit earlier, Ryan O'Hearn going to the Pirates. Ironically, I think that would have been best to flip those actual guys, and I'm going to explain why in terms of where they landed. To me, Gavin Lux needed to go. Oh, let me talk about Tampa for like a hot second, because I do want to mention them for a second. I think it's kind of cool that they got both Gavin Lux and Ben Williamson kind of for not much. I forgot who they traded. Oh, they traded Josh Lowe. Well, I mean, it is what it is there. God, this cough. Speaking of Josh Lowe, someone with the same name spelling, but pronounced differently, Brandon Lau and Brandon Lau, Brian Reynolds, Spencer Horwitz, those three guys right there, plus O'Neal Cruz, are the reason I think Eugenio Suarez should have been the guy the Pirates got instead of Ryan O'Hearn. Let me explain. I think I might have alluded to this before when I talked about this, but you have a bunch of guys now who are in strange positions or in positions they aren't necessarily comfortable in. Horwitz is fine, but you have Reynolds as an outfielder when his outfield defense has declined. Go look at his Savant page. In the past couple of years, he's actually like really bad. You have O'Neal Cruz, who should probably be in right because he has a strong arm but isn't super athletic like that. Like, he can run, but his instincts aren't the best to be in center. And then the left side of the infield is still bad. You pretty much still have Nick Gonzalez and Jared Triolo, who can't hit at all. So right-handed bat-wise, you essentially have like Joey Bart or something. Who do they even have? I mean, they're gonna rush Connor Griffin. Like I said, to me that made little to no sense. O'Hearn, it's like I'm pretty sure it's a 2-year deal, so he's not even gonna be there long. And they have him as the DH, which he's a fine enough fielder. You don't want him in the outfield, really. I say this as an Orioles fan. He's not particularly athletic like that, but he's a fine enough first baseman. It's just now you have like 4 dudes who probably should be playing for first base, including Brandon Lau, including Horwitz, including Reynolds, including O'Hearn. That's way too many first basemen, way too many lefties. Although Reynolds is a switch hitter. And then over in Cincinnati, the balance is off because you have now Suarez, Steer, Stewart, Stevenson. Who else they have? Hayes, Marte, Ellie, although he's a switch hitter, he's better from the left. Who else they have? They still have Trevino over there. The point is they have a bunch of right-handed bats. Oh, McLean. Who else? I say Stewart. The point is they have a bunch of right-handed bats. They needed to balance it out with the lefty, but instead they went and got Suarez, who, again, positionally, he's not better than Hayes, so he's not playing third. He doesn't play the outfield. And they have Stewart and Steer to play first. So essentially he's going to DH, and then someone's going to be either... Oh, plus Friedel, one of the only left-handed guys who's actually, like, there and is decent, he's not really good at center field anymore. I don't know if he's ever really been good at center field, but he should be at left. So essentially, Steer, who's been one of their better hitters, is either going to get traded or probably is going to be on the bench or as a rotation option, because, or Friedel will be where he shouldn't be, aka in center field still, and your defense struggles. So it's a bit of a mess. I said it before, I don't know why they got Hayes, because now Stewart's either going to be DH or you're playing first. And you probably could move Ellie over there because he doesn't have to have as much range plus his arm strength. They still have a guy like Arroyo in the minors who's going to be a better shortstop if he's not already. McClain could always play there if his arms are right. So it's just a weird combination of players over there, and I don't think either one is vastly improved. I think they've improved, but also the Cubs have improved and the Brewers are the Brewers. So I don't see either one of them honestly making the playoffs, because to be real, Cincinnati finished with the same record as the Mets, and the Mets were pretty terrible pitching-wise this past year and have largely addressed that. So I'm a bit disappointed there. I'm curious to see what else happens trade-wise. There's only who else is even out there free agent bat-wise? I don't even know. I have to think about it, but some pitchers are still there, so we'll see where they end up. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be healthy for the next one and feeling much better. But yeah, catch y'all later. Peace.